the most Elijah Muhammad. Peace be upon him. We call him and we see the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as the prophesied Moses, as well as the fulfillment of the spiritual woman Mary of the book. Peace and blessings forever be upon his name, our spiritual mother. I would like to give honor, glory, praises, and thanks, blessings and success to our divine leader, teacher, and guide in this hour, the spiritual son of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Silis Muhammad. And how can we forget Her Highness, the woman who is the impetus behind Mr. Silis Muhammad, and that is Queen Mashaki Muhammad. I extend the greetings to you happily in our original language that we lost of Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I hope that everyone is doing well. I hope that your spirit is high. And I hope that you are fighting diligently in this war of Armageddon. Personally, myself, I'm fired up about this war of Armageddon. Ever since I knew that it was the war of Armageddon, I always wanted to be on the side of God when the war started. And lo and behold, here am I. So therefore, I'm fired up about this war. And I'm not going to let nothing take me out of this war until the day that I die. I will be fighting the war of Armageddon until we either win or I die physically in the attempt. But know for surety, I plan on leaving my mark in this war. I will not be sitting down while things are going on in this war, whereas when history is read, it won't say Minister Majun sat on his fanny when the war of Armageddon was being fought. No, that won't happen with me. So I hope that you have the same spirit of God, the same spirit of Allah, the spirit of your ancestors to stand up and fight in this monumental war of Armageddon. All praises are due to Master Farad Muhammad, the one who initiated the battle, the war of Armageddon. And we are continuing that fight. And in order to continue that fight, that means we must take a mirror, since we've been taught that we have devil blood in us now. We must take the mirror now and look at ourselves in the mirror. Because in order to help the Honorable Silis Muhammad, that means we must first start ridding ourselves of the evil and diabolical ways that the Caucasian race and culture has put in us. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad, our spiritual mother, said that the Caucasian man purposely went into our ancestors, our grandmothers, to mix his blood in us so that it will make it easier for us to do evil and wrong. Now, when you look out at our people today, do you see the white man's plan in effect? Oh, by all means. Black people in America, in the diaspora, our morals never used to be the way we're practicing it now. You can almost say we're acting worse than the white people with how we are, how we treat one another, other people, how we undressing ourselves right before the world, our women, men and women against each other, black women opposing one another, right? People right out in the world. So the Caucasian man has done his job. Now it is time for us to weaponize ourselves and do our job. So if we're going to help Mr. Silis Muhammad in this monumental battle for the war of Armageddon, for the minds of our people, those of us who are with him, it is extremely imperative that we turn and look at ourselves in the mirror and start carving out of us gradually those things that will cause our people to look upon us and frown. For we must be a shining example among our people. And this is what our goal, this is what our objective is. Never stop praying. Never stop eating your one meal a day. Never stop fasting. These are the building blocks to maintain power and strength within inside the self. Yeah, you're going to get dirty in hell, but darn, don't stay dirty. Take a bath. Meaning, do your ablution and say a prayer. Clean it off of it and keep marching. And as we begin to continue to practice the truth and practice righteous conduct, see, when you begin to practice, this is not my subject, I just wanted to say this. As we begin to continue to practice, what is practice? It's getting you ready for the real thing so that you can be perfected at it. So when you practice something and you practice walking, you may fall. Get back up until you actually march and step in step. But don't stop just because you fall. Don't stop praying just because you did this or did that. Allah, forgive yourself and keep moving forward until you cleanse yourself of these things that are holding you back. Now, with that said, I want to, first of all, thank all of our Afro-descendant dignitaries that may be with us today. If you are here and you are honoring us with your presence, I want to welcome you. All of our dignitaries from the GCC directors, the chairman of the House, the Speaker of the House, I'm sorry, to our esteemed ambassadors or secretaries in the House of Representatives, whatever. If you are a part of the government of the Afro-descendant nation, I welcome you humbly to our Zoom meeting. Now, we just came back from Savior's Day, and Mr. Silis Muhammad, gave a very profound lecture called The Signs, the End of the Signs, or I should say the signs of Moses and Mary fulfilled. That lecture was packed with so much information that it is definitely impossible to try to get that to you in an hour and a half or 2 hours. In fact, I will submit to you, my beloved, that the lecture topic today will be an ongoing lecture topic because we're going to peel back the onion. We're going to unpack some of that information that Mr. Muhammad gave because, trust me when I tell you this, it was deep. It was deep and it was applicable to today. But before we do that, I would like to preface that lecture by saying this. In order for us to have an understanding about just where we are as a people, we have to first acknowledge that something very terrible happened to us in slavery. Now take a moment with me for a minute, because something very devastating took place in slavery. Most of you focus in on the physical torture that we went through as a people. I say to you, my beloved, that something far more sinister took place with us during slavery than the physical destruction of our bodies. What took place in slavery was the complete destruction and, what's that word the Savior used? Let me put it this way. The complete destruction and annihilation of your mind. I want you to see yourself on an operating table, and I want you to see a man going, or people going into your mind, carving out everything about you, and then reinserting in you what they want to go into you, to the point where what they took from you, you have completely forgotten everything about who you are, what you are, and where you came from. You don't even know your own language. And to show you the depth of this devastation, after he operated on our brains, carved out our mind, and made us forget who we are, where we are, what our language is, our culture, he then gave us an identity. He then gave us an identity. And you know what that identity was? Negro. Now, let me show you how profound he went into our mind and gave us an identity of Negro. Such esteemed so-called Negroes was born from among us. W.E.B. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington, Martin Luther King, and others, Reverend Anthony, all subscribe to either calling us Negroes or colored people. Now, these are educated black men among us. Even they're lost into the identity of who we really are. They didn't even stop to think to ask the white man, who told you that I'm a Negro? For a Negro is not an identity, but the white man made us because he took your mind from you and gave us what he wanted to go into our mind. And after he gave us Negro, now go into my society and assimilate into my society. And here's where I'm getting ready to get to my subject at, a part of it. As we began to assimilate, what did he do? Whichever religious denomination your slave master were, that's what they indoctrinated you with on the plantation. If it was Catholic, then if you were a slave, you were property, you were taught the Catholic religion. If he were a Protestant, then you were taught the Protestant religion. If he were a Baptist, then you were taught the Baptist religion. Whatever your slave master was, that's what you became. We began to assimilate. So our slave master, stay with me here, because I'm going somewhere with this. So our slave master educated us about the Bible, the book. That was the first sign of him destroying or indoctrinating our minds with Christianity, with the book. Don't you know he taught you wrong? Don't you know he misled us in the books? Don't you know to this very day we're misled in the books because many of us don't know that the book, the Bible, as well as the Holy Quran, are books of prophecy. They are books from a bigger book. And they took these scripts of books, these scripts of writing from that bigger book and put them in the Bible and Holy Quran and gave them to prophets to last for 6,000 years. Now, in this book, there's a prophecy in here that our enemies saw. Now, I'm peeling back some of Mr. Muhammad's lecture because something is going on right now as we speak. There's an attempted robbery taking place. Someone is attempting to steal your identity. They are attempting to steal who you really are, because the people that are attempting to steal this are the same people that are in a land that they don't really belong in. The same people that are attempting to steal our identity are the same people that are responsible for the ships that brought us into slavery and even owning slaves. We're going after it. They messed with the books. They took advantage. They took advantage of the fact that you were dead, you were lost. They had taken your identity from you and me, and we knew nothing about who we are or where we came from. So therefore, they looked in the book and they saw us. They saw what God promised us. What did they see in the book? Let's look at that. What did they see in the book to make them want to steal our identity? Now, upon this point, I want to call upon a young student, Zachariah, to read those verses that I gave to him to read to you. And we're going to follow, we're going to follow a trail here, because Mr. Muhammad saved his day lecture, and it was packed with so much that you're just not going to get it all, not today. That's impossible to do that. It's so much. I constantly read it and reread it, and it's just so profound that I'm going to keep going after this until there's nothing else there. And I don't know how long that's going to take, but it's going to take way more than an hour and a half. So Zachariah, will you read those verses I gave you? Because we're trying to find out now What did the Jews see in the scripture to make them want to steal our identity?
Yes, sir. Okay. For thou art
What
and
scripture you reading from? What scripture you reading from?
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6 to 8.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
Stop for a minute. Stop for a minute. Now, the Lord hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. Above, finish reading that, my brother.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Now, that's where I want you to stop at. Well, where did they get this stuff from? All of us are God's people. Where did that talk come from? No, no, no. God has chosen a people to be his people above and beyond any other people on the earth, which means you are special to God. So they're the chosen people. The Jews saw this. They saw that God chose a people. Continue reading, my beloved.
The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because ye were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all people. But because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers.
Stop. Oath that he has sworn unto your fathers. See, an oath was made. The Jews saw this oath. Okay? They went into the scripture and they began messing around with it because their objective was to position themselves to steal your identity, to try to be you and me. Now, I'm asking you, if a man is trying to steal from you, you're going to let that person steal from you and not stand up and fight for what's yours? They had already took your language from you. They took your culture. They took your way of life. They even took your God from you. But yet my own brother would kill and shoot me down if I tried to take some crack from him. But you won't kill the white man. You won't kill or go after white America for taking your humanity from you. What are you going to do, alpha male? You'll kill me. What about doing something for those people that have taken your identity from you, that have stolen your identity? And as a result of that, got you in the poorhouse, got you in the street selling drugs, got you turning up on one another while they're sitting over there in Israel, people paying gifts, giving money and all kind of wealth to them because they think the Jews are God's chosen people. But yet here the Jews are frauds. We intend to expose them. And we're going to use this book, the Bible, to prove our point, how the Jews are frauds, how they have robbed us, or how they are attempting to rob us of our identity. We are the chosen people of God, and I aim to prove that to you today. Now, that's just one peeling back of Mr. Silis Muhammad's message that he was given. It's a lot more, trust me when I tell you. But we got to get to the understanding. We got to get to the understanding that God chose the people and that the Jews are right now in Palestine because they thought that that was the promised land, and they positioned themselves to try to be you. They convinced, they deceived the world into making the world believe that they are the people. Brothers, that's foolishness. During the Balfour Declaration, they tried to have King Hussein to sign off on the Jews being put into Palestine. But King Hussein refused to sign off on that because he knew that they were not indigenous to Palestine. Semitic people. We are Semitic people. Jews are not Semitic people. I've shown you that in a few videos ago, how Jews are liars and how one of their rabbis came forward and proved or bore witness that white people came down there later. They did that because they're trying to fit in among the real Semitic people. That Levant era, that's the era that we are from. We are Semite people. Jews are not Semite people. They are frauds. Now we're talking about an oath, which is why God chose them, his people, an oath that was given. And I want to read that oath to you. I am in Genesis chapter 17, verse 18 to 20. Bear with me, please. And Abraham said unto God, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son, indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. Now, a covenant is a promise. A promise is an oath. The young man, Zechariah, just read to you where God said that he's here to fulfill an oath that was made to our fathers. The oath was made with Isaac. What was the oath about? What was the oath about? What caused God to make an oath with Isaac? Because Abraham was concerned. What was Abraham concerned about? Ishmael, his seed. Because Sarah told Abraham to put the bondwoman and Ishmael out. They were cast out. And God told Abraham to hearken on to Sarah's voice. So Abraham did what Sarah asked him. But Abraham was so perplexed and so disturbed about his son that he asked God, he said, oh God, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. Let's go on and see what God says about Ishmael. And then we're going to get to that other verse. Just bear with me. So we're talking about an oath now, which is why God has chosen us as his people. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him and will make him fruitful and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac. My agreement, I'm going to make an agreement with Isaac. That's who my covenant is going to be established with. Worry not. God is telling Abraham, have faith in me. Don't worry about Ishmael. I'm going to establish a covenant, an oath with Isaac. And it's through Isaac's lineage that he is to carry this oath all the way until the oath is fulfilled. Now, why? What is the oath about? We're going to read that. And why is there an oath? Because a sacrifice has to be made. A sacrifice. In Genesis 15 and 13, or Genesis 15, I'm going to say 12 and 13. I'm going to stop right there. The sun went down. A great horror and a deep sleep fell upon Abraham in darkness. What did Abraham see that was so horrible? What did Abraham see that was so dark? What Abraham saw, he saw a world. He saw a society. He saw people coming into existence that will create hell and havoc all over the earth, where people will be killing all over the earth. The blood of man and woman will be all over the earth because of a people. Children will be dying in the streets. Baby will be killed. Baby will be sent off as sex slaves. Children will be dying. Mothers and fathers against one another. Sons and daughters, sons and fathers, children, all against one another. Households breaking up. Abraham saw a dark day up under the rule of an evil people. So God told Abraham, know for a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs. Abraham saw this. Abraham saw his seed through Ishmael being put in chains. He saw him. He saw him, brothers. Sisters, he saw him. Can you imagine the pain of a father to see his children being taken away from their land in chains? Can you imagine the pain of a father seeing his children beat, whipped, and lynched and tortured for 400 years? No wonder Abraham say, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee, because it would be through Ishmael seed that will fall into slavery. His seed will go through so much that after 400 years of the destruction of who they are as a people, their whole mind will be completely devastated. The father saw this. So God said, worry not, Abraham, because I'm going to send someone through Isaac's lineage. I'm going to make a covenant with you if you allow Ishmael to suffer this for 400 years. Now, they cut Ishmael out of the book. You find little bits of Ishmael, and they tried to insert Isaac as the one being sacrificed. And Isaac was not sacrificed. It wasn't Isaac. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that was Ishmael that was sacrificed. His seed would go into slavery. So because Ishmael's seed went into slavery, God had to make a covenant with Isaac and his seed. Isaac, I want, through your generation, at a particular time, a Messiah is going to be born through your generation. What he have to do, Isaac, is he have to go and wake up. First of all, he has to go and find Ishmael's seed and wake them up. Bring them back to the knowledge of who they are, where they came from, what their language is. Isaac, you are the one that I'm making this covenant with. He can't make it with Ishmael because Ishmael and his seed went into slavery. They're dead. And under this dead state, here come the Jews, taking a complete advantage of the fact that we don't know ourselves, or during the process of us waking up, trying to discover ourselves and learn ourselves. Here are the Jews. Go to the United Nations with this Bible and tell them that they are the chosen people of God. Now, what does Moses have to do with this? Because the signs of Moses and Mary is fulfilled. What Moses has to do with this is because Moses came to a slave children. My question to you, my beloved, did Moses exist 4,000 years ago? Yes, he did. Musa, who went to Europe, left Egypt and went to Europe to civilize the Caucasian people. So there was a Moses, but that Moses was a sign of a man and a people in the distant future. And the Jews knew this. Now, a sign, as Mr. Muhammad pointed out, you could be riding on the highway and you'll see a sign that says 20 miles to Chicago. When you see that sign that says Chicago, 20 miles, you're not in Chicago. That means you got to keep going 20 miles. Now you're there. When you read about Moses and the children of Israel and Pharaoh in the scriptures, that didn't happen, but that's a sign of a future people at a future date and time. And we got proof, concrete proof called reality to corroborate what we're saying. This is why Mr. Muhammad said the sign of Moses and Mary is fulfilled. And it is. We know who Moses is now because we are the slave children. See, when Master Farad Muhammad, remember I told you that when we came out of ethnocide, we were given a name, an identity, Negro. We kept this identity thinking that we were Negro. All of us thought we was Negro. We didn't even know that was an identity. The Caucasian man gave us that identity with full knowledge that that identity means something that is dead, lifeless, can't move forward, stagnant. That's why he gave us the name Negro, because he made us. We didn't make ourselves. He made us into Negroes, so he gave us the name Negro. Now, all the way up. But let me say this. You had Marcus Garvey, you had Noble Drew Ali, these men came, and they tried to get you up, black man, but they didn't affect you. It was something about what they were saying didn't completely resonate. You actually fell back into the grave, Hiram Abeth. They couldn't get you up, Hiram Abeth. But when Master Fard Muhammad came, all praises be to Master Fard Muhammad, when he came and he told you as a silk peddler that where you come from, these garments, these silk garments, these things I'm selling, that this come from your homeland. Stop. Curiosity is turning. This come from our home. We didn't even know we had a homeland. We're Negroes. Yes, it's come from your homeland. When curiosity is turning, it means you're interested. It means you want to know more. And Master Fard Muhammad masterfully knew that. So what he did, he turned the key and stimulated our curiosity. Where you come from, your people sold these silk garments. In fact, where you come from, you used to be kings and queens. Stop! Me a nigger? Me a slave? Me a Negro? Used to be king and queen? Wait a minute, hold up. We began to wake up. He touched something in us. He touched the very core of us. Why did he do that? Because he was fulfilling the promise. He was fulfilling the oath that God made with Isaac, that I'm going to send a Messiah. I'm going to send one. Abraham worried not about Ishmael. I'm going to send a Messiah to wake him up. I'm going to send a Messiah to look for him. So when Master Fard Muhammad said, you are my uncle, the Muslims couldn't even understand that until Silis Muhammad broke it down. See, Ishmael children are the uncles of Isaac's children. Master Fard Muhammad is the fulfillment of that oath. So when he came, he chose us, all black people in the Western Hemisphere, as his people. We are the chosen people of God, not the Jews. We have records. We have concrete records. We have slave narratives to prove we were enslaved. The Jews can't produce anything. They can't produce not one iota of evidence, even their own rabbis. Not just one, but there are many who dispute the fact that there was ever any people in Egypt 4,000 years ago. Even the Egyptians disclaim that there were people in Egypt up under Pharaoh 4,000 years ago and spent 400 years in slavery. But to qualify for Abraham's seed, you had to have been a stranger in a land that's not yours. Were we strangers in America? And we still are. Yes. Could we speak the language of these people? At first, no, we couldn't. Did they afflict us for 400 years? Absolutely. We have concrete record to verify this. So we are the chosen people of God. We fit that description, and we plan on using this evidence, taking it to the UN to show how the Jews have frauded us, how they frauded the entire world into thinking that they are God's chosen people. I wonder, personally, just Minister Dewan, I wonder if that's why Hitler started killing. Because they are pretenders. They're trying to be something that they're not. They didn't steal our homeland, but they are attempting to steal our identity. An attempted robbery is taking place right now. What you gonna do about it? Alpha black male. I'm not so much talking to the sisters, I'm talking about these so-called tough black men who call yourself an alpha male. You want to kill me if I take something from you. Now here it is, the white man, the Jew boy, has taken from you, is trying to steal your complete identity and bury you over in America as an African American. What are you going to do about it? Riches, gold, money, good home, and all walks of life awaits God's people. But we got to get this scoundrel. We got to get this diabolical enemy and expose him for the thief, the liar that he really is. And that's the Jews. Now let them come at me like they came at Kanye West and Kyrie Irving. They can't handle me. I ain't afraid of them. I got enough truth, man. I ain't afraid of nobody. And that's real talk. Come on. I can defend my faith. In fact, I can defend what I know to be the truth. And you know it too, black man and woman. You know that the Jews have been 400 years of slavery. So in slavery, what did they give you? What did they begin trying to tell us? They began producing the movie, the Ten Commandments, is that right? To make you think that the Bible is a history book. And that it happened 4,000 years ago. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad knew it wasn't true, but it was certain things he couldn't say at that time because it wasn't time for it. We were still awakening our people to their identity as to who we are as a people. So he couldn't say anything, but he knew the Jews were lying. He knew that Palestine is not the real promised land. No, sir. No, sir. Palestine is not the promised land. That's what the Japanese, Great Britain, France, and America got together and gave Palestine to the Jews by deceiving King Hussein of Mecca, Arabia. They got King Hussein of Mecca, Arabia to help them fight and destroy their own Muslim brothers, which was the Ottoman Empire. I think that ruled for something like 600 years until the British went in there and turned the Arabs against one another by telling them that they would be able to give them an Arab state. Meanwhile, the British is working with the French. And they both are working with the Jews to do what? Establish a homeland, to position themselves, to try to take your identity by saying that Palestine is the land that was promised to them. Now, according to the books, God told Moses to let the people know that they are to go into ancient Canaan, which today is Israel. And they are to move the people out of that land and destroy them, tear down all their idols and everything. This is in the books. And what did the Jews do when they came to Palestine? Ethnic cleansing took place. They start killing those people indiscriminately. I kid you, it's historically documented. Some people was on the fly so quick that they wasn't soldiers yet, but they was militia. When they got to some of the people's home, the coffee was still warm. That's just how much those Palestinians took flight to get out of there, because they had heard the rumbling that people are being killed indiscriminately. And the British soldiers, they were there almost like making sure nothing happened to the Jews, the Israelis, for killing those people. They went in there and completely devastated and annihilated over 15,000 Palestinians. Mowed their houses down to do what? To make room for the Jews who were coming to populate the land and claim that land. It's ours, it's the promised land. Here it is in the Bible. They deceived the United Nations, bro. That's what Mr. Muhammad is saying. They deceived the United Nations to thinking that they're us. We're not going to get the land that way. They got their sights set on the wrong land. The promised land, if you don't know, well, here it is. The promised land that was promised to Ishmael's seed is Mecca, Arabia. That is the promised land. And the Arabs have been put on notice that we're coming home. The Arabs have been put on notice that we are the true descendants of Ishmael. Yes, we are Arab. Our mother's from Africa. You had the Egyptian to have the nerve to tell, who was this? I believe it was Kanye West. One of these brothers, that Egyptians weren't black. Oh, I wish they would have came at me with that. I just wish they would have came at me with that. Egyptians are the original black people in Africa. Our mother Hagar came from Africa. And we are from Ishmael's seed. So we are Arabs. We are the true Arabs. Make no mistake about that. We are Abraham's seed. Was not Abraham a Muslim? Yes, he was.
Yes, sir.
Abraham was a Muslim. So if Ishmael was his son and Ishmael's seed was sacrificed and went through 400 years of slavery, and we have the evidence to prove that we are that, we are Muslims. We are the real Arabs. We are the real Semites. We are the real ones that belong in that Levant area, not the Jews. They trickled down in there because they were positioning themselves to steal your identity. I'm mad as hell, and so should you be. You shouldn't take this sitting down. You should be fighting mad. Not in a negative way, but in a mental way. Let's go to war. Every lie that's being told across the globe, we have to crush it. We can't sit back and let not one lie exist. Why? Because we are the 144,000, and being 144,000 like unto the Lamb, then we have to develop the mind like the Lamb. Who is the Lamb? He is a warrior. He is a warrior for God. And he's been into so many battles that his garment began to drip with blood, which shows you how much battle this man been into. So we got to stand with him, and we got to go into battle ourselves with him. He don't have to tell us to attack. I'm on the attack right now. I'm not on no defensive. I'm on the attack. I'm coming at the Jews. I'm coming at Louis Farrakhan for lying. Anybody that's standing in the way of the Lamb of God, my sword is unsheathed and it's coming down hard on either side. And that's the way all of us who follow Mr. Silas Muhammad, we must have the spirit to fight for truth, to establish truth in the earth and expose all liars. I don't care if that liar is your son. I don't care if that liar is your mother. I don't care if that liar is your husband or wife, sister, brother, whoever they may be. Go forth, slay your brother, your neighbor, your companion, slay them with the truth. For we're here today to end all lies on the face of the planet Earth. And if they're standing in my path, I'm a warrior for God. Prepare for slaughter. Because I'm coming at you with the spirit of Allah to slice you up. Oh, yes, I'm coming at Farrakhan. You wait till we get out that video that I did a few weeks back on Minister Louis Farrakhan. All lies got to be exposed. We have to go on the attack. You see something, if you don't know how to attack, send me the information so I can put on my boxing gloves, so I can start sharpening my sword and say, oh, this another one? All right, I'm coming after you. I'm coming after you with the sword of truth. And that's all I'm going to deal with is the truth. Because you can't sit back and just say, well, let Mr. Muhammad do everything. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Mr. Muhammad is one man. This is why he's given us the knowledge. He has given us the knowledge so that you can become equipped with the knowledge to start doing battle, to expose it, to teach our people, enlighten them, to wake them up. For what is the duty of a civilized man? It is to teach civilization, culture, and refinement to the uncivilized. Who are the uncivilized? Our people that are trapped in the white man's world. Now, what is civilization? Being kind, being polite, being courteous, being honorable, in all your business activities. You should be money should not be a factor that causes you to lose your integrity, your honor as a man or a woman. Because money is in the picture. It shouldn't be even in the picture when it comes to you being a brother or a sister to another brother or sister. Money shouldn't have you to start acting like a Negro or an uncivilized person. That means you're not yet ready to grow up out of yourself. But truth, honor, integrity, righteousness, keeping your word, these are the ingredients that we are to hone inside of ourselves while here in America. So that when we get our own land, and we will get it, we will take those important elements, those crucial ingredients with us to affect our people. The only reason a lot of our people are the way they are now is because we live inside of hell. And we don't control the narrative of hell. The white man controls the narrative of hell. This is why Mr. Silas Muhammad and those 19 leaders came together to give us an identity. Look at the wisdom of this. Mr. Silas Muhammad knew that we can never get reparations as African Americans. He knew we can never get reparations representing ourselves as colored people or Negroes. Why? It's because Negroes, African Americans, or black people that call themselves Americans are the property of the United States government. And here's the proof. When two armies are engaged into war, the property of that losing army becomes the property of the victorious army. And because we became the property of the United States government, Abraham Lincoln stepped back and said, what should we do with these Negroes? Let us, here's a decision being made about you. Let us keep them here among us as our underling. A decision was made. And it is an irreversible decision as long as you continue to call yourself an African American, a Black American, or an American, or a Negro, or a colored man. Because those are identities that the white boy gave you. So Mr. Muhammad knew that in order for us to get reparations as a whole throughout the entire diaspora, we had to have a new identity that we come up with. Lo and behold, they decided that our new identity would be Afro-descendants. I'm a Muslim, but that's not my identity. That's not my identity, a Muslim. My identity is not even the Nation of Islam. My identity, my nationality is Afro-descendant. But I'm a Muslim that believe in the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, that's taught, Master Farad Muhammad, that's taught by the honorable Elijah Muhammad, and that's reaffirmed by the honorable Silas Muhammad. I'm a Muslim that believe in all of the teachings that the Nation of Islam was teaching. But the name Nation of Islam is really obsolete. It's a name. And the name was only used until we get an identity. But the structure, FOI, GCC, lieutenants, captains, secretary, following order, the law, the 24 principles of conduct, all of that is still in play. But the name, Nation of Islam, that name really is no longer applicable, to be honest with you. It lives within us. The Nation of Islam was what I just wrote down. It was the structure, not the name. Master Farad Muhammad and Moses said that name would only be used until a more appropriate name is applicable. This is why Mr. Muhammad went to the UN. And those 19 leaders decided on Afro-descendant. That is the appropriate name for the baby. So we are Afro-descendant Muslims. We got Afro-descendant Christians. We got Afro-descendant who don't have any kind of religious affiliation. And that is how we're going to get reparation. Do you think the white man is going to pay reparation to his property? That's why he's playing with it. Because it's property. He have it in his constitution that 3/5 number. That's still in the Constitution. He haven't changed that. What about all our intellectuals who have not even challenged that in the Constitution? All of these black judges, the black caucus, these lawmakers, these black lawmakers, you haven't even challenged that? Master Muhammad said that the white man can really legally put us back in slavery, and the UN can't do nothing about it. Have you heard that the Jim Crow laws are coming back in Mississippi?
Your voice broke it up, Brother Minister. Your voice.
Have you heard that the Jim Crow laws are coming back in Mississippi? And black people in Mississippi that know about this, going on YouTube, crying about it. One sister literally was crying. I can't help but I felt her heart. But I understood that She don't know what's going on. Why do people, a lot of people don't like her? She said, I'll be darned if I continue to live in a state where Jim Crow laws are coming back. What's going on? She don't know what's going on. Other intelligent black people got on there, start talking about how Jim Crow laws are coming back. This is because the white man knows he can put his niggers, his African Americans, his Negroes, he can put them back in slavery. And the international community can't do anything about it. Why? Because our international law, they can't interfere with domestic affairs. But if you become an Afro-descendant, he can't touch you. You don't belong to him. Afro-descendant was born from his mind. It was born from the mind of 19 black men and women. The identity Afro-descendant. And that is how we're going to get reparations. Afro-descendant, come home. The doors are flung wide open. This is your home, Afro-descendant. If you want to be a part of the government, you can be a part of the government. If you don't want to be a part of the government, you don't have to. You can just be an Afro-descendant, but declare yourself. Let the white man know, I ain't your nigga no more, boy. I'm not your slave anymore. But if you're an Afro-descendant, you belong to the United States of America. And that is as an underling. Now, I ask you this, my beloved. Do you want your children from generation to generation growing up being second-class citizens? Look at the sister that was crying about the Jim Crow laws coming back. She wasn't back there in those days. But look at, she's born now. She was a young sister. She's born now in this new day and time. And is crying serious tears about the Jim Crow laws coming back and why people don't like us. No one told her what happened to us. No one told her who the white man is. They not even LeBron made that statement. Why do a lot of people don't like us? He don't even understand what is going on with us. He don't even understand that the Caucasian race have assimilated us into their society and has made us laughing stocks of the world. Our women all on TV showing their behinds just they worse than the white woman now. Brothers all on TV grabbing their crotches, showing their it's just insane. Walking with their pants down, and it goes all over the world. And you wonder why people don't want you a part of their society. Who would want you inside of their society? Where every woman walking down the street, you grabbing your crotch saying, hey, baby, any fries with that shake? You so sexualized that all you think about is how many women you can have. And now the women have become that way. All you two talking about how many bodies. And these women are not afraid. I'm talking about young sisters. Oh, I got at least 15 bodies. And they say it with pride. It is our job to fix that. But we can't fix it until we inform them that a nation exists right here now today. Right here in America. A government exists with a full-blown constitution, a constitutionalized government with a Congress, an executive branch, and a judicial branch. They're living, they're working right now. The president is working, meeting people. The president of the Afro-descendant nation. Why don't you know it? Because your slave master don't want you to know it. Because you are African American. And when you're African American, then you're limited. You do what the white man tells you. If you don't, he'll kill you. So today is our day to expose the Jews who are trying to usurp you out of your promise out of your homeland. They're trying to steal your identity. We got them. But you can't be afraid to talk about them just because what they did to Kyrie Irving and anybody else that speaks out against them, except the Lost Foundation of Islam under the leadership of the Honorable Silis Muhammad. They don't want you to know about him. See, not even Farrakhan know how to handle those Jews. He just taught. They got him saying, I don't hate all Jews. They got him sounding like a wimp. Talking about he's here to separate the good Jews from the satanic Jews. Nigga, have you gone crazy? Hey, how you gonna separate the devil from the devil? The devil is who he is. All white folks, according to the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, well, which I believe and know to be true, are the devil. And not, we're not saying it with mockery. We're saying it as a matter of fact. So how are you going to separate the good Jews, call them the good Jews, from the satanic Jews? So even they got him afraid, all on talk show trying to explain himself. Man, just lay it out there like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did. Mo, you're the devil. And we got proof. Yeah, it takes backbone. It definitely takes backbone to stand up in this day and time. So brothers and sisters, we're going to go into another phase of the Honorable Silis Muhammad's teaching. And that's that phase where he was talking about the promised land and how we got devil blood in us. The war of Armageddon. The war of Armageddon. But we can't successfully fight this war if we're going to keep practicing the ways of our enemy, who purposely went into us to corrupt us, to make us unacceptable to civilized society. So turn the mirror around. Do you like what you see? Do you like being a liar? Do you like being one who's walking around killing and shooting and robbing your own people? Do you like being one whose moral is so debauchery that it's a shame if God look upon you? You can change. The one that can't change is the white man. The white man can try to change, but you can't change. You don't have to be a liar. You don't have to be an adulterer or a fornicator. That's not your nature. That's why you have problems, because you're exercising and practicing things that are not your nature. Your nature is a nature of righteousness. This is what the white man kept from you. That's why he corrupted you, because you had good morals. And as long as your morals was good, standing next to him, you could condemn him. But now he's made it that you can't condemn him, because you're just as nasty as he is. You're doing some of the most foulest things that he's done. Why? Because he is your teacher. He's been our foster parent for 400 years. But a man came, Master Farad Muhammad, and he stimulated in us to stand upright, to clean ourselves up, to re-resurrect the good moral nature of Black people. Because Black people, make no mistake about it, make no mistake about it. And I'm going to say this. We are the gods of the earth. Don't you dare try to argue with me about that, because remember, you don't know anything. How do you know who you are? The white man took everything you once were and made you a Negro. So you don't know who you are. You went from a Negro to a colored man. You don't know who you are. You went from a colored man to a Black American. You don't know who you are. You went from a Black American to an Afro-American. You don't know who you are. You went from a Black American to an African American. You don't know who you are. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad tried to tell you who you were. And when the white man knew that he was telling you the truth and he saw you waking up, he went forward with a smear campaign to make you hate the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. If you don't believe it, why don't you see him promoting the Honorable Elijah Muhammad during Black History Month? He don't want you knowing about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because when people come into the knowledge of his teachings, they start changing. Oh, yes, they do. I've seen young people who have read Message to the Black Man, and now their mind is turning. They're changing because of what they read. That's almost like the missing puzzle. You're not of this culture. Rise up. Fight. Fight for your life. Fight for your spiritual life. Fight to get back to who you are. And who are you? Master Fard Muhammad said, you are the original man, the makers, the owners, the cream, the best of the planet Earth and God of the universe. He didn't tell us that to make us feel good. Look at what we do. Everything we touch, we supersede other than. Every sports we get into, we take it over. White boys have to take steroids. This is coming from them to keep up with black guys. Why? Because physically we're naturally more powerful than they are. The brains of our people, he keep them separated and draw them into his society so that he could use them for his benefit. But he's not letting the people know of how brilliant black people are. He's keeping that from you. He's just letting you be gravitated to the entertainers, to the sports people. Simone Biles. Who else? LeBron James, Barry Bonds, Denzel Washington, Beyonce, et cetera, et cetera. He keeping you in that area. He keeping your mind focused in that area. Because if he ever let us go, and he will, with what's finna hit him, he's gonna let it go, trust me. Then black people will supersede our limit. There is no limit to us. Brothers and sisters, when I say that we are God, this is the truth. One of the main scientists, I forgot his name, was interviewing a young genius and giving him advice. I think this young man, black man, was around about, looked like he was to be around about 12 or 13 years old. It's on YouTube. Neil deGrasse, him. He was giving the young man advice because of the brilliance of this young man. See, so what did the Caucasian man do? Assimilate into his society, to nullify you, to weaken us. He began to give you wrong food to eat, physical, spiritual, and mental, to weaken you in order to try to even the playing field. So we're nowhere near as physically powerful as we used to be. Now, I see it. We're nowhere near as physically powerful as we used to be. That's because the white man is breaking you down. We're in his society. You don't know who you are. He got you thinking that you and him is the same. No.
Stop playing.
We are the gods of the earth. Now, I'm going to say this. Since we are the gods of the earth, don't you know that means you have to start acting like God?
There you go.
Don't you know that means you have to start talking like God?
That's right.
Don't you know you have to start carrying yourself properly? Meaning the physical of us, we've proven the physical superiority, but there is another entity that lives inside you. That entity is the spiritual, the consciousness that used to keep you from being indecent. That used to keep you saying, oh girl, no, I'm not doing that. You used to be shy. You ain't shy no more. All your stuff is hanging out for the world to see. Where did that go? This society, being assimilated, have destroyed your good morals, but it's still in you, and you can change. But you got to start giving life to the spiritual part of you that craves to live. It can't live if you're telling a lie, brother. It can't live if you're breaking your word, brother. You got to be an honorable man and practicing keeping your word. And if you keep practicing, ultimately, you're just going to walk into it. Just like you walked into learning how to walk. Did not the Savior, our leader teacher, say that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told you that when you found out that there was no Santa Claus and that your parents was the real Santa Claus, that deception was done away with. You just stopped believing it. That's the same way, brothers and sisters, that you are going to wake up to the fact, the reality, that this is God. And what makes and distinguishes you from anybody else, particularly the white people, is your consciousness. Your consciousness. You need to listen to it. When you turn and you say a sincere prayer, you awaken. You awaken that consciousness inside of self. When you're sincere about telling the truth, then you begin to awaken that person, and it makes you a better Muslim. This is real talk. If you're a Muslim and you're always at odds with another Muslim, something is wrong with you. Somebody is not righteous inside of themselves. Because a real Muslim who are practicing Islam, they are at peace with self. They are at peace with others. Others can feel genuineness coming from them. But if you got jealousy, envy, all inside of you, that element that the white man put in us. Or I shouldn't say he put that in us. It was there. But I should say it's unchecked. Don't you know how beautiful we will be as a people? Just treating each other right. Just being nice to one another. Being fair to one another. Stop trying to lie. Take something from somebody. That's what the Honorable Silis Muhammad is teaching us. If you never practice his teaching, how you know that Silis Muhammad is the spirit of truth? Because when you start telling the truth, then the spirit to tell it is so much into you that you're watching every word you say. Can I give you an example? Because I'm making the point that this is God. I no longer believe in a spirit God. God is real. Me and a young orientation student was talking about speaking the truth. And so I said to him, now, if you go to the store and you say, I'm going to the store is still open. And he goes to the store and the store is closed. His statement was, the store is still open that he's going to. But he get to the store and the store is closed. His words was that. But when the store is closed, that meant his words was not true. He didn't speak the truth, albeit it was innocent. Still, that wasn't the truth. A customer asked me the other day, oh, what aisle is this in? I said, ma'am, it's in aisle 45. Now, I know it's in aisle 45. I know it, because that's where it belongs. She came back and said, excuse me, sir, but I went to aisle 45. It's not there. I said, ma'am, come on, let's go and investigate this. So we went to aisle 45, and guess what? It wasn't there. I said, oh, man. I said, I misrepresented the truth. That stayed on my mind so much that day to when I got home, I said a prayer. And then I told myself, I'm going to be very careful about what I say from this day forward. I'm going to be very careful. So some time went by. So another customer come to me and say, sir, where is this located at? I say, sir, ma'am, it should be in aisle 10. So she went there. It wasn't there. She said, sir, I don't see it in aisle 10. I said, well, let's go and check it out. I said, okay, you're right. It's not in aisle 10, but it should be here. She said, okay, you just don't have it. I said, no, it don't mean we don't have it. It just means I don't see it here. They may have moved it somewhere else. So the lady went, and later on that day, I saw the item, a whole lot of it. I said, oh, there it is. So I felt good about the fact that I didn't misrepresent the truth. So this is how you know the spirit of truth, because you're so cognizant of what you say, and you want to be truthful. You don't want to be a liar. You want to be a man or a woman that tells the truth all the time, not some of the time. That's how you know the spirit of truth is here. And that spirit The spiritual, when you begin to practice it, oil begin to come from you out of your pores because that's holy oil, so said the Honorable Silis Muhammad. This is why when he saw us at Savior's Day, he said, I can tell if you've been praying, or I can tell if you've been smoking that reefer. Because when you begin to practice who you really are, stages and degrees your power of who you are as a God start coming back to you. You no longer want to be that person, that over. In fact, you look back on that and you start feeling ashamed of the things you used to do. This is God, brothers and sisters. He's right here. And what makes us one? It's consciousness. It's only one consciousness. And when we start developing enough, oh, we can tap into that consciousness. But it's only one consciousness, and that consciousness is Allah. But that consciousness resides in all of us. But the only one that can master that is the black man. The white man can't do it. He could try, but he'll go right back to his nature. Your nature is not to be evil. Start doing right and see the things start happening for you, especially now, since we're in the days of Allah. So Moses wanted you to know that you're going to wake up one day and you're going to actually realize, wow, I am God. And then you're going to start saying, well, let me act like God. Let me walk like God. Let me treat people like God would treat people. You wouldn't even want to spit on the side. I'm telling you, look, from my experience, you don't even want to spit on the side because you say, well, that's not civilized. You won't be throwing things out of your car or spitting seeds out of your car. You will start wanting to be clean. You will start organizing your home because you want to live in a clean environment, a neat environment, because you know that God don't exist in confusion. So therefore, you want order. Why? God is waking up in you. People can see God in you by how you walk, how you talk, how you carry yourself, how you treat people. Not just black people, but all people. You can't say you God and be unjust to Caucasians. You got to treat them with respect. I used to take from the white man and say, this is part of my reparation. I'm talking about as a Muslim. I sure did. I used to take from the look, hey, this is part of my reparation. This crack guy is being unjust to me. I'm taking. But when I was taking, you know what was going on inside me? I'm looking around. See, that when your conscience starts telling you to look around, you know you're doing something wrong. When you do right, your conscience never bothers you. That's how you know you're doing right. It's only when you stray away from that, if when your conscience say, don't do that, or that was wrong. And the stronger you are, then the more obvious your conscience begins to speak to you. Oh, you just got to practice and you understand what I'm saying. Like when you say your prayers, you hear you. If it's not sincere, the man in here, he don't even respond. But if you're sincere, you can feel your consciousness. It's there. The presence. You feel that presence in your mind. And when you come out of prayer, you be like, this is the real truth. All you want to do is give praises to Master Farah Muhammad for bringing us the knowledge of who we are. This is God, Allah. And the more of us realize that, then the more of us will start doing what is necessary to go wake our people up and let them feel this good feeling of being God, of being spiritual, of being a Muslim. That's what we're going to have to use to get the Afro descendants to trust us, because we do have trust issues. And since we're going into God's kingdom, or we are building it, you can't go into God's kingdom being a liar, being one that don't give a damn about your word. You should be breaking your word all the day. And just say, oh, no. If you're with the Honorable Silis Muhammad, stop that. And if you're in the New York temple, we practice the law here. We catch a lion here in New York. Oh, we're coming at you with the law. We have an investigator that's going to exercise the law for you breaking your word. Now, depending on the level of your lie, then that's the degree of punishment. and sometimes it just may be a $20 fine. What are we doing? Practicing the law to correct ourselves. I don't want you lying to me. I want to be able to trust you, brother. Sister, I want to be able to trust you. I cannot trust you. You're a liar. You break your word. You're always fighting and arguing. What's wrong? You didn't pay your zakat? Why is there so much hell inside? It could be because you don't practice Islam. You take the message of Muhammad and we don't apply it. When every time I read Message to the Black Man, Fall of America, or the Saviour book, it's almost like some of that knowledge have a time capsule. As many times as I read it, I said, wow, I've read this so many times, and I finally got it. I understand. That's just how profound the teaching of Message of Muhammad really is. So my brothers and sisters, there are other things that Mr. Muhammad said. Let's keep this in mind. The signs of Moses and Mary is fulfilled. You and me, we are God's chosen people, not the Jews. And we can prove. I hope that I have proved that to you today, because there is no historical record on this earth, in Egypt, or anywhere, of anybody ever being in slavery for 400 years. The Jews are imposters. They're trying to be you. Are you going to let that happen? Or are you going to raise your voice up and let your voice be known and heard about the Jews? Spread it. I don't care if you're talking to one person. But you spread the truth. The Jews are liars. They're not God's children. We're God's. You got to let people know that we are the real chosen people of God. I talked to a brother from Haiti. He come telling me the Jews are God's chosen people. I said, well, brother, if I show you in the scripture where that's allowed, would you accept it? He was in denial. You know what that was? Cognitive dissonance. We'll go into that another time, but he shut the truth out because it was that powerful that it dispelled what he'd been believing all his life, that the Jews are God's chosen people. So he really couldn't handle the truth. Why? That's called cognitive dissonance. Make yourself feel good. Just want to feel good, just to not actually feel bad, to confront the truth. That's what cognitive dissonance is. That's what the white man used when he was killing our people. Justification that made him feel good about doing it, that just justified him so that his conscience, so that the people conscious won't begin to bother them. Oh, they belong in slavery. They were savages in Africa. All of that is no more than exercising the element of cognitive dissonance. But the truth is here today. You're going to be able to use that crap for long, because we're going to tell it. So with that said, I am going to be going into, wait a minute. I am going to be going into another phase of Mr. Muhammad's lecture next time. It's imperative that I do so. And because I only dealt with a couple of aspects of that. And it's a lot I'm trying to show you. There's so much to read. And that's the aspect of this is God, your consciousness. And you awaken that consciousness by speaking the truth and practicing right conduct. The Jews are imposters. We are the real choice of God. The promise, the oath have been kept and made by Master Farad Muhammad. He came and told us that we are the seed of Abraham, that we are the gods, that we are descendants of Abraham. And Abraham was a Muslim. So he's a Muslim, he was an Arab, he was in Mecca. We are the real Arabs. Don't let nobody tell you anything different. We are the original Arab. We were in Mecca before we even went into Africa.